and this is my summer savory. I'm really looking forward to working with this herb this year. I've had winter savory before, but not summer savory. So anyway, it's a culinary herb, but it's got a lot of interesting qualities and correspondences and a tiny little bit of lore, of herbal lore that we'll kind of go through.
Hello circle gatherers, just wanted to do another quick video today on an herb I'm very excited to work with in my Ancestor garden. It's actually an annual. It's called Summer Savoury. Now over the last several years I've had winter savoury in my backyard, which is a perennial, but only lasts about 5 years, if that. So it was looking a little, it was looking like it was finished. So I had given it back to the earth, and I decided that I was going to try Summer Savoury this year. So it's in my garden. The Latin name for Summer Savoury is Saturina. It's Hortensis saturina. Again, not Latin, not an herbalist, not a scientist. This is fun research. If I butcher names, I apologize. Butcher words. So it's related to air. The planets are Mercury and Venus. It belongs to the mint family. So many things belong to the mint family. One little trick I've learned, if you want to know if an herb belongs to the mint family, remember a lot of mints are invasive, so you kind of have to be careful. This is an annual, so I'm not too worried about it. But they just kind of grow and grow and grow and grow because they do really well. They're very strong, very hardy. If you roll the stem in between your fingertips, if it's kind of square, I've heard, and from what I've researched and from what I've experimented with, it is part of the mint family. So a lot of people use it in kitchen magic. It's a joy bringer. It adds mirth to the atmosphere. If you add it to cooking, it will lighten the mood of the meal and increase the sense of course, of mirth, like I just said. Some people carry it in a medicine bag to relieve negativity. That would be the dried herb, I would assume. It can also help with focus and memory. My personal experiences, this is how I have my magical materia laid out, is that it does help aid digestion for me, and it kind of makes me happy when I think of Summer Savoury. So my mom loves Summer Savoury, and she was a great cook, is a great cook, but you know, she used to cook a lot more way back then. She used it in stuffing and on chicken. I have some recipes here where you can make a mix for meats for dishes. Some people use it as a tea to help digestion. Like that would be, you could use the fresh herb, I suppose, but the dried herb would be really good for steeping. If you really like the taste of it, my mom liked it so much that whenever they went down to Florida for several weeks at a time, she would take some with her because she didn't want to be without it. So now, interesting tidbit. I've got some medicinal uses here, but the Romans believed that savory was an herb of the satyrs, and it's believed that summer savory possessed an aphrodisiac power, and winter savory was used in sex magic. Didn't know that. Okay, so rubbing a sprig on a wasp or bee sting provides relief, and some people make an ointment for minor rashes or irritations. And the plant is the strongest when it's in flower, so that's when you should be harvesting it. And in the fall, you just pull the summer savory from the roots and then give it a spray and let it dry someplace cool and dark. Medicinal uses, like as I've said, it's a digestive aid. It's an anti-flatulent. Some people use it as a tonic to boost the appetite and treat diarrhea. Tea made with an herb is a cough remedy and expectorant. Think of chicken soup. Interesting. Think of chicken soup. When people make a chicken soup, it's because someone's not feeling well. Either they have a cold or their stomach is not well. Even broth, chicken broth, right? It's usually to help settle the tummy. The tea can be given to diabetic patients with intense thirst. Anyhow, so when I think of some of the medicinal uses, especially the aphrodisiac bit, the way to anyone's heart, a number of people's heart, not anyone, a number of people's heart is through their stomach. So, of course, if you're cooking with wonderful herbs such as a savory or any kind of herb that you have grown with love and care and you've dried with intention, like you've put your intention into what it is that you're actually growing. So, for example, this summer savory, the whole reason why I have this Ancestor garden is for intent, and we'll do a video on intent later on. But whenever, like, I'm putting intention into every herb and plant that I have in this yard this year that I'm going to be doing a little video on. So when I use it, the intention that I put into it, the energy that I put into it, it's going to come back because I've put it in. So if you are putting love and affection into an herb that is known to make people feel loved, happy, and then if you're cooking with intent, if you're doing some kitchen magic while you're cooking, if you're kind of chanting or singing into the food, people do it. Think of Italians. Think of how happy Italian families are when they're cooking and eating. This is kind of the way we need to get back to. So that's what I want to bring out of the stuff that I'm growing. So just a couple recipes for you. I'll be quick because I don't know how much time YouTube's going to give me. Holy cow, can you hear that? Okay, so for pork, if you wanted to make a savory dish, you could use 2 tablespoons of winter savory if you're using winter savory, or 2 tablespoons of summer savory, 3 tablespoons of sage, 3 tablespoons of sweet basil, and 3 tablespoons of rosemary. And you use 1 teaspoon of flavoring for your dish. They say less is more. I might give that a whirl, the less is more bit this year. I kind of, anyway. When it comes to beef, here's another recipe. Now, whenever make sure those herbs are dry. Now, you could, of course, make a wrap, but anyway, that's a different recipe altogether. But if you're using dry herbs, just kind of crush them together, make them one. So kind of like with your fingers, squeeze them together, like get them used to one another. So, like letting the oils out, even if they're dry, there could be a little bit of oil, like just kind of get it moving, like get it coagulating, even though that's usually done in the liquid. Get it kind of moving around so that they're going to be friends with one another. So for beef, I've got 3 tablespoons of dried summer savory or 2 tablespoons of winter savory, one or the other, 3 tablespoons of sweet marjoram, 3 tablespoons of sweet basil, 3 tablespoons of dried chevrill, never used that, I'd have to try it, and 3 tablespoons of dried parsley. So that's another way that you could make a mix, a dry rub, or an herb that you could sprinkle over beef. And again, squeeze the leaves together, get that stuff working, right? So, and this is stuff you can do after you've harvested your herbs in the fall, or late summer, I should say, and you can enjoy that stuff all winter long. Anyhow, very, very excited. I think the savory is probably the most favorite of mine in the garden this year. I think about a lot of these culinary spices. When I do my research, it says it comes from Southern Europe. So I'm thinking like, I don't know, Southern France. So it makes sense, why my mother loves it so much, I'm sure. Well, a lot of people like it. You don't have to be French, but my mother's side of the family, they're French and Acadians. So once upon a time, they would have brought this kind of way of cooking over from France, and they would have adopted it here in the Maritimes. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this video. I really can't wait to see what my plant's going to do this year, and I can't wait to use it. Maybe you have some herbs and some plants that you want to do a little bit of research on as well. It's really fun. It's neat to kind of get your notes together and know what it is that you're working with. You have a little bit of knowledge, but remember, this is a culinary herb. But if you're using something, if you're creating a relationship with an herb, please make sure that you've checked with your pharmacist first to make sure that there's not going to be any adverse effects on any medication that you're already taking. Anyway, I hope everybody has a wonderful day.